That should be enough to get us past the advertising that YouTube puts on my stuff, whether or not I monetize. I am hoping that I didn't disconnect any of the sound system stuff this week and forget about it. If I did, that'll be funny. Can everyone hear me and my drummy drums? Who we got with us here? We got Tenenbaum. Nice to see your name showing up in the side chat. We got Cliff, Canadian. How's it going? Charles, nice to see you. Grace. And there's Cat Mac. So we got the team. I'm just doing a little bit of housekeeping behind the scenes here. I fell asleep while putting one of the kitties to sleep. So it's a bit of a rush to get here. So I'm just making sure that all my T's are crossed and I's are dotted or whatever that blah blah is. All right. Let's pop the chat out from the YouTube side of this business. And all right. Got him. Hey, Chris Garland, how's it going? I have a dram of the Alberta Premium Cask Strength Rye Batch 3, which I'm just going to let sit there for a while. I have a local-ish. Is it local or is it local-ish? Saint-Hyacinthe, Quebec. So it's local-ish honey brown. And of course, tea's a good drink. Oh, I forgot to take my tea bag out. Wow, that's just funny, isn't it? Hold on a sec here, folks. Bob. Sorry, folks. There we go. Tea's a good drink. So, Jackie Blanchard in the house. Robin is there. Tea is never crossed. The cost is too steep. I'm just going to throw that up on screen because that is the truth. The cold, hard truth. So, before we go any further, I have said hello to... Oh, Carol's in the house. How's it going? Liz Weekly, hi. I'm not getting past the greetings. Okay. Before other people show up, I just want to get the housekeeping out of the way. Couple of things. First off, if you're one of the people who watch the live streams time shifted, thank you very much. That means a lot to me, and so do you. You're a hero. Also, if at any point tonight you decide that you like what you're watching, then please feel free to drop a thumbs up. That is highly appreciated. If at any point tonight you kind of hate what's going on, that's all right. Drop us a thumbs down as well. That works as well. It shows that you're at least interacting. Who else we got? Hey, Nate is in the house. Nice to see you too. Charles is having Folgers Classic Roast Coffee. That's okay. What time is it where you are now, Charles? What time are you at? I'd ask you what the weather is like, but it's too depressing. We got a relatively... we got a hell of a dump, but not a hell of a dump of snow, and then freezing rain melted it all away. So now it's just slippery and depressing out. Liz Weekly is having a cup of chai with just a touch of milk. Let's crack this beer while it's still cold. I know that Robin's got a beer. Hey, Robin, which one are you having tonight? I know that you were trying to decide between two. Was it the vampire robot or the something rather tentacles? It is 10:04 in the AM for Mr. Charles W. So yeah, I could see that would be a little early for a beery poo or a whiskey poo or even a glass of wine. Serge is not here right now, so this pour is going to be terrific. Funny how that works. Honey brown. Little health update. After weeks and weeks and weeks of dropping a pound a week, I put a pound on last week and just under a pound again this week. So I may have to sort of slow down. I'm not really drinking a lot of alcohol. It's my eating is starting to slip a little bit. So I got to get back on the horse. Definitely a honey brown. I can taste the honey. 6.5%. So that's technically a strong beer. It's quite good. I think maybe it's been in the fridge a little while, though. It seems to be going just a little flat. Tentacle Pirate Beer, a black IPA, says Robin. Good to know. Hey, look who's here. Cookie, how's it going? It's been a while. Probably won't be on winding down for the night. That's fine. That's fine. Thanks for stopping in and saying hi. I hope that you enjoy the whatever part of tonight you actually do get to stick around for. Charles says it rained last night, a little this morning, still humid as hell. Jackie's having hot chocolate with a splash of Sailor Jerry spiced rum. Legit. Interesting. Dark like Guinness, but hoppy and citrusy. That is a black IPA for you guys. Never had one before. As you guys know, IPAs make me dry heave, but dark beers make me happy. So I do wonder what that would do. It's the hoppiness I don't like. Hike with Mike is in the house. Liz Weekly asks what I'm doing to lose the weight. Well, I was essentially going running every afternoon, well, every lunchtime, and I'm under orders to keep my added sodium and added sugar intake to as close to 2% of my daily requirement or whatever as possible. I've been eating a lot of salads, not eating a lot of processed food. This week slipped a little bit. The wife is working some crazy hours, so I'm single dadding a lot. And like, for instance, tonight I just ordered pizza because by the time I got home with the two kids, it was way too late to start on supper. So, you know. And as Jackie says, it is hard to eat right when the weather starts to turn for the cold, because I think we all sort of get this instinct to put on blubber and, you know, sleep off winter like a bear does. You know, Charles has got a good approach. He just eats less so he can drink more beer. Russell is just finishing up with Dennis's live stream, which I have, of course, missed again tonight, and we'll catch up with tomorrow. And this is the name of Les Grands Bois. I think, is that the name of the brewery then? L'Enfant Bournois? No, I think I might be mixing this up. Yeah, Shawnee, one thing that definitely kept me on the sort of the straight and narrow is when I had prepped a lot of healthy snacks, the instinct to just grab like a cookie or something was way less strong. Mark Putman says, brief dropping tonight. He's a sleepy beast. That's all right. Thanks for dropping in anyway. Hike with Mike says, I find stress is a good way to lose weight. I've been using it most of my life. I wish that was true, because if so, I would be whip thin. Whip thin. You know, stress affects certain people certain ways, and different people different ways. And some people drop a lot of weight. Some people put it on through stress eating. It's the same as... I'm not going to say that. It's gross. But yeah, so what I want to talk about tonight, this is actually not what I had planned to talk about, but Russell dropped me a note and said that this would be a good subject. Oh, yeah, Liz says she eats more when she stresses. Yeah, and I do as well. Jackie agrees that prepped snacks are a good thing. I did this thing where I make roasted chickpeas. If you don't do them right, then they're just kind of powdery and pasty and not good. But if you can sort of get them crispy, then I would love to have an air fryer. I keep getting the wifely kibosh on that, but I would love an air fryer. I think for stuff like that would be a nice purchase. The thing is, I don't know where the hell we'd put it, so I'm not exactly, you know, pining for one. But I would like one. I think for some of the snacks I like to make, it would simplify things a little bit. Cat Mac also stress raises my cortisol, which is weight gain. So we got Dale in the house. We got Grace. We got many things. Many things going on in the side chat, which is nice to see. Yes, okay. I was just making sure that I had some bladed objects on the desk here, just in case, because the conversation does tend to hit on bladed objects at some point in the evening, and I just wanted to make sure I had some stuff, just in case, right? Like I have my first real bushcraft knife, my Australian-made Woodlore clone. I've got a lot of really cool knives, but this one still has a good place in my heart because it was my first real serious bush knife. Got my mini Nesmith knife, which is what I currently use for food prep. And I got my little Wetterlings hand axe. I think they called it a hand axe, and then they changed the name to the Buddy hatchet, and then they stopped making them. David Evans in the house. How's it going? Jackie's hubby bought her an air fryer. Yeah, this beer started to go a little flat. I think I left it in the fridge too long. It's too bad. It's not as good like this as it is when it's still lively. That's okay. It's all right. It's fine. That's a first world problem. Apparently, calling something a first world problem is now problematic. So I will endeavor to... I'm never going to be able to keep all this stuff straight. It's like most of the stuff I grew up saying is now problematic. And I'm not going to get political about it because I'm not one of these guys who's like, a snowflake about stuff like that. But I do find it a little hard to remember all the terms that I'm no longer supposed to use. So what do I want to talk about tonight? Yes, this was a subject suggested by Russell. Because, as I said, I had a very sort of nebulous concept of what to talk about tonight. I'm just making sure that I get this right. Of course, I'm going to get this right. Yes, he wants us to talk about what do you get out of going into the wilderness? And I found it interesting because I've talked to you guys ad nauseum about kind of what I get about going to the wilderness, like in roundabout ways. And, I sort of half jokingly say that I go into the wilderness so I don't have to spend money on a shrink kind of thing. And I'm talking to a group of people who generally are familiar with the outdoors, who generally have a connection with the natural world, right? Like a lot of you are either homesteaders or off-gridders or bushcrafters or paddle junkies. The way, if you're walking down the street and, you threw a pebble, you don't really stand a huge chance of hitting someone who is like many of us here, who have that kind of connection with the outdoors. And so what is it that you get from trudging off into nature that you need or that you desire? For some of us, like for me, for instance, it calms the demons in the head in a massive way. The smells and everything that I've talked about so often are calming and yet exciting. But I don't go into the woods to test myself against nature the way someone like a Bear Grylls might. I'm not a survivalist. I don't go into the woods to bend nature to my will, and I will live for a week off of nothing that I except that which I hunt or anything like that. For me, it's very much about being there and enjoying the calm that I feel. And so I wonder, like, how much do I have in common with the rest of you in terms of this? Like, are you, and I'm not saying that, your opinions are not legit if they don't match mine. No, I'm saying, what do you get out of, hitting the woods, out of hitting the bush, or the lake? Are you the type who does go into the woods to test yourself, to test your mettle against the forces of nature, the savagery? I have a brother who's a bit like that. Not in that way. He like me. He like I am. He is like, I'm going to start that sentence again. Much like me, he doesn't love being in highly urbanized areas. He's from Vancouver, but whenever he was back from like Afghanistan or wherever the hell he was stationed at the time, he would show up in Vancouver, be in the city for like as long as it took for him to, pack up a rucksack and disappear into the woods for a few days. But he has also done things like, he and a bunch of his mates walked across Greenland. I mean, there's definitely a testing yourself element to that. And he is very much like that in several ways. I don't know why I'm not like that. Like, I don't know why I don't need to do the endurance element of being in the woods. We're all different people. We all get different things from different environments. Some people, they love nothing better than to hit the dance club on the weekend, kind of thing. Are they even called dance clubs anymore? Am I too old to even talk about this? But you know what I'm saying. They go clubbing, and that's where they feel their adrenaline. They're on the dance floor. They're sweating it out, having a few drinks, collapse into an exhausted mess at the end of the night, and wake up refreshed the next morning, which is legit. Just because it's not the way I like it doesn't mean it's not a legit way to blow off steam, because we all have to blow off steam. We all have to blow off steam. I know someone for whom that's going to the range and putting like $100 worth of rounds downrange. That's not it for me. For me, going to the range is about honing skills ahead of hunting season. I haven't gone in a few years, so for me, it's interesting. I find that we live in a universe that's really bombastic. We live in a society, in a set of societies where being stressed or overworked it's just part of the background noise. And we have to blow off steam. I often do this thought experiment, and I've mentioned it to several of you before, how like if you take 1,000 years off of today's date, or 2,000 years, or 10,000 years, how big a part of people's lives were stress? Outside of there's an enemy horde coming over the hills, run. Outside of that, in day-to-day life, how long ago did stress become a big part of life? Was it in the feudal system, right, where you have to create enough crops or grow enough crops for yourself and for the taxes to your lord? Was it in Roman times, which is probably the blueprint for feudalism in some ways, like in terms of having taxable income? Or was stress part of the day-to-day all the way back to the beginning? Like, do you stress about, okay, we have to hunt a saber-toothed tiger to feed the tribe this week? Or is it just like, it's just something you do and you only stress about it if you get to the end of 2 days or something and wow, we didn't find anything? I mean, I'm not looking for answers here. That I'm not this. There's no test. You're not being tested. There's no exam. No one's getting graded here. This is just the kind of thing I think about. And so now that I'm remembering that there is actually side chat that I should be paying attention to. Um, what is it that you get? What are you looking for? Oh wow, I'm already this far behind, and we're only 20 minutes into the live stream. Sheesh. Okay, let me just see what people are saying. Liz says Russell just wants an air fryer. Okay. So of course Russell says on it. All right. Yeah, it's funny, Hike. Every time I see your name pop up, I'm like, I think we're gonna understand each other here, and we do. I like the quiet of the being alone with the wilderness. I hate the sound of my name because I hear it about 90 times a day in my job. So go out into the woods and not hear my name is Zen. It's funny because I don't hear my name 20 times a day or 90 times a day because I work at home alone right now. But I do hear daddy, 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 Jess, daddy, Jess, daddy. I am constantly called when the family's home. It's like, and two, sometimes three people will call me at the exact same time. And it's just nice to disconnect from everything. I treasure alone time. I don't get lonely if there's no one around me. I get freedom, you know. Up to a certain extent. Like I would get real down real fast if I was alone for too long. But yeah, Jackie and Mike understand each other as well. And yeah, but here's another thing, Jackie. You're right. I like being in the woods alone, but I also like showing my kids the woods and showing them, okay, don't touch that, it's poison ivy, and oh, look at that, that's really cool. Hey, that's a beech. Uh, that's a blue spruce. That one's a Douglas fir. That feeds something in me that I didn't even know I needed before I had kids. Makes me wonder, like, those sorts of needs that you don't even know are there. Do they affect you if you don't know about them in any way? I remember camping with my parents too. I have some more memories of camping with my parents. That's where the sort of the weird sense that I like come from. The smell of those Coleman camp stoves when you turn on the gas and then you light it. There's a certain smell of that. Those lamps, not the oil lamps like the Diets or the Feuerhand, but the ones that you pump, right? The ones you turn them on and pff, they make that sort of wind sound, that hiss. Those are all smells that and those mosquito coil things that you would light, citronella, stuff like that. Those are smells that remind me of camping with my parents, like next to Lake Winnipeg or out west or whatever. I'm just taking a look. Nate Muskoka, of course, making sense, peace, and learning. Absolutely. Yeah, it's funny, Mike. I often sort of half jokingly say that if I spend too many days in the woods, I come out kind of half animist. I think there's a difference in the way you see the woods if the world is put there for us by an all-knowing being versus everything has a spirit. I think the quality of the light is a little different. That's maybe a metaphor rather than an actual physics of light thing, but the idea that everything in the forest has a spirit, like everything everything there has a spirit is attractive to me. Like years ago, I gave myself over to the Church of Science, right? I'm not going to go like spiritual and woo woo on you guys or anything, but there is an attraction inside me for that kind of philosophy about the world. And what comes with that is the fact that we're here as stewards of the earth for the next generation rather than we own the earth ourselves. So I understand what you're saying about us, the spiritual place for you, Mike. Absolutely. Shawnee says, I enjoy the entertainment and feeling content in the outdoors. Always something to look at, listen to, makes time go by. For my children, they can get all their energy out. Maximum effort activity. That is so true. You and me both here, Liz. Just clearing our minds. Hike with Mike agrees with you as well. Charles grew up in North Georgia mountains. Closest neighbor was 2 miles away. That sounds like heaven. Just let me do one little thing here. Boop, 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 boop. I just need to send something to some human for later. Whatever he decides. Oh, nice. Shawnee says that tonight we had an hour to kill, so we loaded up the sled since it snowed today and walked to the block to look at Christmas lights. The chilled air and night sky made me smile. Yeah, right now it's very well. It was very slushy earlier today. It was very snowy and then very slushy yesterday, and today it was very slushy and then really icy. So we would not be doing that right now, but yeah, it's a good way to get a little festive feeling in, yay. Yeah, good way to get to loosen up a little bit. Liz says, "Yeah, I haven't been to a pub or a bar or a show or anything in a long time, or at least not one that I haven't been the one playing at." Canadian says, when one arrives in one's spot of choice and you sit on a rock or a chair or a stump and you look around and your heart rate goes to a calm level, your brain relaxes and you become happy. That's when you know why you go there. Absolutely. Yeah. What's your perfect place then, Canadian? Are you the type who needs it to be next to a lake or a river? Or do you prefer like a meadow? Because I'm never sure. I think that I would like, I think that my perfect place is a boreal next to a body of water. Now, I know that if you're too close to the body of water, like wind can become an issue and everything, but I like the concept of camping somewhere that I had to paddle to. I had to get into the canoe to get to. I am so far behind. Sorry, guys. Oh, I'm so far behind. Okay. Oh, and I've gone back too far. Hold on. I'm gonna find it. Oh, Liz says, being in the bush or sitting by the water helps clear my mind. That makes a lot of sense to me. And I had missed that comment, Liz. Ike says, lifespan was a whole lot shorter back in those less stressful days, though. I keep thinking about, Ötzi, the Iceman, who was, clearly murdered on a mountain on the side of the Alps, whatever it was, 10,000 years ago or 6,000 years ago or whatever it was. But I kind of feel that people lived more in the moment back then. There were no video games or this stuff to lose yourself in. Even like when I was a kid. Like when I was a kid, playing, like I didn't have iPads or anything. You either had a book or comics or, your mother was like, go outside, and I don't want to see you until supper time. And I kind of feel that we lived more in the moment when that was how we entertained ourselves. That now it's too easy to disconnect, to fall into the screen. And I'm not saying that as someone who's like, oh, geez, those MTV video games are turning the kids into monsters. I mean, I spend a lot of time playing video games. Okay, I'm saying it as someone who realizes that somewhere along the line he lost something when he gained that particular hobby. Hey, Bill Kurtz is here. How's it going? Yeah, Daddy is my name. I know. I yeah. Hey there, Longs. How's it going? Chris says, disconnecting from routine, trying to grasp the size of the universe, enjoying the solitude, gaining skills and knowledge, reflecting on life, growing as an individual. All those things are very attractive to me. Especially, thank you for mentioning the grasping the size of the universe thing. I was talking to someone yesterday, and I was saying that I find comforting is that no matter how disastrous life feels for someone on my scale, no matter what stress is eating away at me, or if my big black dog is sitting around my shoulders, wherever, no matter what, I find comfort in the feeling that out there somewhere, Jupiter is spinning and just doesn't give a crap about my silly little life. That no matter what we do here to ourselves, no matter how, if we wipe ourselves right the hell off of the face of the planet and take almost every species with us, about 10,000 years, life will have picked up and will be sort of getting back into its swing. I mean, the extinct species won't be coming back, but nature will be fixing itself, and out there, the solar system, and beyond that, the galaxy, and then the universe, they're still just going to be spinning. The machine will just keep running. Doesn't give a crap about us. And for some reason, I find comfort in that. There's Jupiter just spinning there, big red dot, storms, stuff, and just timeless, permanent. Not really permanent, but when you're working on timescales that astronomy works on, compared to our silly little lifespans, you may as well just call it permanent. I find that comforting. I don't know why. I mean, there's nothing inherently comforting about that, but it works for me. Robin says, the oppression of modern urban living casts a weight on all the senses. Sounds and horizon measured in meters. Walk in the woods lets it fall away. Close your eyes and the world feels so vast. As someone who has walked in the woods with me on many, many occasions, I think that is very legit, Rob. Cliff says, I'm slightly late to the party, but not really. At least I'm not patina late. I love that comment. Oh no, everything just jumped. Okay. Grace says, I started way late in life with bushcraft and camping. First time out, I failed miserably, which inspired me to get better. Now I'm confident enough to go out on my own. Feels good to be a self-reliant. I like that comment too. I early in my my YouTubing, like first year I did, I think. So what is that? 2013. I did a video where up until then I had only started fires using man-made stuff, char cloth, stuff like that, or like a little poofy jute, right? But using found natural materials in the woods, I just couldn't get it to work with my little scrapey. And so I did a video about it. I'm like, guys, what the hell am I doing? And I had some moss, and I had some this, and I had some that. And someone made the comment. I got a lot of really good comments on that video, which made me much, much better at doing this. And one of the comments was, take the scraper off the lanyard. That the lanyard between I was using one of those little light my fire ferro rods. I don't like them that size. I like a very large ferro rod where I can get a lot of speed before I get to the end of the rod with whatever I'm scraping with. But the comment was that that little lanyard wasn't giving me enough room to really get the sparks going. And that little change made all the bloody difference. And so I understand what you're saying. You know, your first time out, you failed miserably. If I fail miserably and I'm shooting video about it, I always leave that in. I think that you guys deserve to see me fail at stuff. And I came to that conclusion through watching. How do I put this? As a consumer of YouTube, I am easily insulted when the YouTuber I'm watching disguises an hour-long process to get a tent up by making it look like it was a 30-second snap. There are certain things I will drop a channel for. If certain YouTubers have suddenly gone, you know, the bikinis and sex appeal route, where I had been watching them for skills and stuff, I immediately unsubscribe. If there are too many clickbaity titles, I drop them. And if they make everything look way easier than it is, I disconnect as well. Because as YouTubers, all of us here, I'm not the only one who actually YouTubes here, right? There's a bunch of you here who have your own channels. And no matter, I've said this before, I'm sorry, I'm repeating. Some of you have heard this, some of you have not. No matter how often you say, look, I'm not an expert at this, if there's always someone who's watching you, and I'm going to try that. And if you make, you know, if you pack a big old hot tent into the woods and you make it look like it takes nothing to transport all that stuff and takes 5 minutes to get that thing standing, it's a disservice to the people who are watching, I feel. So I always leave the fuck ups in. Demonetized. I always leave the mess ups in. Always. Even sometimes, because I'm trying to keep my videos at like 10 minutes, because that I feel is a good bite size. Anyone has 10 minutes to watch. Like, whereas it takes me a real investment to watch like a Joe Robinette video because of the length. I mean, I do it, but you know, it takes, okay, this is what I'm doing. Whereas a 10-minute video I can just put on while I'm doing the dishes or whatever. So sometimes, like, I have to make certain choices while editing. I'm trying to keep this thing around 10 minutes. Okay, the mess up has to stay in. So what else? What gets taken out, kind of thing, you know? Fortunately, so much of what I actually video has no narrative value that it's not that hard to trim. Somebody's up. Are you guys hearing that? One of my kids is up. One of my kids is up. But I cannot go and deal with that right now because I'm here with you guys. I will just tell her. Just give me 1 second. What time is it? Yeah. Hold on. I am streaming. It's late. Go to sleep or read. She's asking for screen time for YouTube. I'm like, I'm not at this time of night. Roussel.
Hi.
Let's go.
I thought I'd come on screen in case you had to. Can you?
Yeah, I'm gonna go and deal with her. I'll be right back.
Can you fix the window size?
Oh, yeah. I hadn't even noticed.
Better.
All right, I'll be right back, guys. Russell will
Go.
keep you highly entertained in the meantime.
Highly entertained. I
Highly.
highly trial version. Oh, I did it really well that time. I I love how when Jess starts his live streams and says, "I was gonna do a topic about this, but then Russell said no, do this." I sometimes give Jess suggestions on the topics. I say, "How about this? How about that?" I sometimes give him a few suggestions, but then he turns around and says, "Russell wanted us to do this tonight." That's not the case. That's not true. Jesticle. Anyway, I'll share my experience. I was thinking about it because I was thinking about like what I like about being in the wilderness, and I'm a little different than a lot of people. Actually live out here in the wilderness, and kind of everything everybody said is very true, you know. And some people have said you kind of rhymed off everything. But when I suggest the topic to Jess, I was like, I wanted to focus in on just one thing above all the else, all the else, all, all the rest. And for me, I don't know what that would be. It might just be solitude. It might be just. I was thinking it might be the sandboxy nature of being in the wilderness. Like you're out there. There's water. There's trees. There's rocks, and you can kind of look around and think, I can do anything out here. I can do what I want to do. I can build a shelter. I can build a fire. I can do this and that. These are all things you can't just do in the city. And then I wonder if like rich people walk down a city street going, "Oh, I can walk into any of these shops and buy anything," and that's kind of their nirvana, like the exact kind of opposite of what I was thinking.
Yeah, that's an interesting question. Especially like if you think about retail therapy, right? You know,
Retail therapy?
yeah, that's like, you don't know about retail therapy? It's like people who sort of self-medicate by buying shiny things rather than dealing with what's depressing them.
No, shopaholics.
Related, yep, very much so, yeah.
Okay,
Um,
that's fair.
yeah, I find that kind of question interesting. You know how I think the things that move people, that's fascinating stuff, man. Fascinating stuff. Like, what magic made one person need the woods to feel balanced, and another person to need to walk into a Gucci location to feel balanced? Because I don't think it's all this person's rich and this person's not. Because there are some very moneyed people stepping into the woods, and some really unmoneyed people stretching it to buy fancy stuff. So I wonder. I wonder. It's all personal philosophies, right?
I don't know if you heard what I was saying, because I was giving my thoughts on the topic, saying that I kind of love the sandboxy nature of being out in the wilderness. Just enjoy the thought that I can do anything out here I want to. I can.
Yeah. Yeah, I heard that, and find it interesting that you called it a sandbox experience, because my favorite video games are sandbox experiences. I'm just making. I'm just seeing who else has joined us. Uh, Liz says that you like to mark your territory, don't you, Russ? LOL. I don't know what I missed.
I think I said I like to pee in interesting places.
Oh, you like to see a man about a hearse anywhere in the woods.
Well, I tell you what. Here's a funny thing: the first outhouse, which wasn't really an outhouse here, was just kind of a toilet seat and kind of a box on the ground,
Mm-hmm.
just out that way from the cabin. And you sit there and you see this wonderful vista of the pond and the trees and everything, and you sit there doing your business, and it's like you see that Rick and Morty episode where Rick's got that special toilet on that really interesting world, his secret
No.
pooping place. Anyway, it's like that. It was beautiful, and a little wind comes in and wafts your genitals, and it's quite the experience.
No, I never saw that.
Little little side quest we just did there. Yep.
Yep. And you reminded me of there's a part in The Witcher 3 where the Witcher meets a godling, and he's talking about, getting up and having his morning crap and how glorious it is to defecate to the sunrise. So many aspects of life coming together in this one conversation. But hey, Russell, do you have a favorite kind of forest? Is it where you live?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's a big mix of evergreens and maples and oaks and birch and
Yeah. Because I feel that if I was to buy a property, it would probably not be in the boreal, just because of how long it would take me to get there. Like I would have to buy a property that's close enough that I would be like within a 2, maybe 3 hour drive, rather than a 5 or 6 hour drive, just in terms of the logistics of still maintaining a family life and a city life.
you couldn't well, you might be able to find a property that has a boreal like forest on it. I think the boreal, if you draw a line, I don't think it's perfect, right?
Yeah.
That line between the boreal and the corporeal.
Yeah.
What is the other one?
I don't know, what's it called? Mixed broadleaf. I don't know what the hell the forest around Montreal is called. We're in the zone right below the boreal, whatever it's called.
But I tell you what, I did the exact same thing. I said I only want to drive 2 hours, and so I drew a circle around our house.
Okay.
I said, okay, that's as far as I want to go.
And are you within that circle?
No, I had to widen it. I couldn't find anything within 2 hour drive after watching for a few months, so I widened it to 3 hours, and then found this place, which is 2.5.
Yeah, and I don't think I would really find anything within a 2 hour drive of Montreal at this point. This is the problem with these cities. Like Montreal's been sitting here for over 400 years, right? So I mean, they've been building up around it for a while. It's not like sitting in Edmonton or something where, okay, 3 hours away you can be, either in wilderness or in an oil field. But yeah, so I don't know like how realistic my dreams are, but I mean the nice thing about dreams is they don't have to be realistic.
Yeah.
I'm just seeing if anyone has joined the chat since because I'm behind in the chat again.
But you got 23 people watching. Cheers.
Huzzah! Yeah, so all 23 of you. I wonder how many thumbs ups I have.
Slightly less.
Slightly less is fine. Canadian says something interesting here. In nature, forest fires are a way of renewal. They are a necessity. What you just reminded me of is like the ponderosa pine, and there's a couple of related trees that have a fire period as part of their life cycle. That forest fires are what open up their cones and release the seeds and stuff like that. And how so much of nature has evolved around the concept of the occasional, flush out of the forest fire. You see, you're telling someone that some beer will help their thought process.
See, this is what happens when you get behind in chat. You were trying to think of something, and then you stopped talking, and you start drinking beer. I thought, yeah, that'll help.
Yeah, I feel that I'm way behind on I'm just going to jump ahead a bit, because it looks like you're sort of keeping the conversation going in the side chat. Good point. Robin says, for me, this is a while back, but it's a good comment. For me, being in the wilderness involves active attention. My mind doesn't spiral down into a negative cycle. Retail therapy might involve the same active attention. That might be what it is. It's interesting. This is the kind of stuff that I think about all the time. Robin knows this. I'm always talking crap like this. What you guys do when you buy knives at 2 a.m.? Well, we usually have the drinks first. Robin continues his thought with from clouds to smells to roots that can trip you up if you zone out. If you don't zone out. Hey, Tim's here. Okay, or Tim was here. How many minutes ago? Almost 10 minutes ago. Is that how far back I am? Still?
No, that's 4 minutes ago.
Oh, we're 51 now. Okay, we're good. We're good. Woo! Hey, look who's here. Russell's land is perfect. Woods and water. Woods and water is perfect. I think you're absolutely right. Absolutely. Lipstick Lodge. That's Linda, right?
Yep.
Yeah, because I get them mixed up between their names and like their channel names. Linda, how's it going with that GoPro? You working it out? For those of you who don't know, Linda or Lipstick Lodge recently got a new GoPro, and she's working out all the kinks. Judging by the last video I saw of yours, at least the picture quality is really good. Hey, Colin. Colin saying hi to everyone in individual posts. Yeah, so what about the rest of you? Like, okay, so Russell is sitting in his favorite kind of forest. I hope one day to sit in my favorite kind of forest on my own land. But until then, I will just keep driving to the Saguenay or something periodically. I sort of get a feeling through Hike with Mike's videos what his favorite kind of space is. But do any of you have like a favorite kind of landscape that is nowhere near where you live? And I'm asking that because for the longest time, my favorite kind of forest was British Columbia, and I only got to be there in the summers. And that's sort of, there's kind of an unbroken line between the forest I used to pal around in BC and the Boreal. I'm just wondering, like, posted a bit, but it took. Oh, hold on. Doing well. Tried to edit a fishing video I did over the weekend, having no kind of luck at all. I'm sorry to say. Welcome to my world. It's funny because Russell mentioned that we've got another narrative telephone coming out at some point, and I think it's my turn to edit, and I don't know how I'm going to do that without a working computer. I think if I buy an external hard drive, I can set this one up as a temporary thing, but I spent all my money on Christmas gifts. Oh, there's a legit one. It just says, I love Cape Breton Island. I think Robin would probably agree with you because he's spent some time there. I have yet to see Cape Breton Island, but I hear that I must. I hear that I absolutely must. Hike with Mike says the desert intrigues me because it is the complete opposite of my wet environment. I do love the desert. I've never been to like the Sahara or anything, but I've been to like the Badlands in Alberta and the pocket desert around the Okanagan. The Okanagan one is almost semi-arid, more than straight up arid, but it's still very desert-y. And I would love to do a small series of videos on desert bushcraft because, like, a lot of bushcraft skills are transportable to almost any environment, but there are some things that I cannot pull out of my hat if I'm sitting in the desert, where I can't just, oh, there's standing deadwood. You know, I would love to see what does and does not work when you're in nothing but scrubland. And it's arid enough that, God help you if you start a fire, But yeah, I find the desert is very, very enchanting. When a few years ago when I did that small series of videos from the what's it called, the Southwest, Arizona, Nevada, that kind of area. Almost nothing, no, very little of what I shot ended up in the videos because it was all just, there's another interesting rock. Wow, look at that canyon. Because I was enchanted, but that doesn't translate well to the narrative sometimes. Sometimes it gets in the way of the narrative of the videos. So there was all kinds of that stuff that didn't end up in the videos, but man, so different from anywhere I've ever been. So different. Like it was more different for me to be standing there in Red Rock Canyon than it was to be standing in Paris. Do you know what I'm saying? So it was just absolutely enchanting, kind of. But the thing is, I don't know if I'd really want to build like a little hovel out in the woods or something like that, out in the desert. I mean, it's enchanting, but I don't want to live there. That's not where I want to be off grid. Just gonna hide the comment.
Just looking for those scorpions.
Just looking for them scorpions. Use a little black light. Went to Nova Scotia and Cape Breton. We flew to Halifax, rented a car, and drove to Digby, then all the way to Cape Breton. Put on 1,700 kilometers. Had a blast. Yeah. Wow. Linda knows someone who paddled around Newfoundland. She did it over a summer. Even in the summer, that must be cold. Like if you fall out of that damn kayak, forget about it. That must have been an adventure, though.
Did they see icebergs in the summer?
I don't know. I don't know if they see them in the summer. They sure as hell see them in the winter.
When did they break off?
As often as possible. Global warming, man. What kind of question is that? I feel the need to look up icebergs, Newfoundland.
Yeah, me too. You're not doing it now, are you?
Yeah.
You've been live for. You're live now.
Yeah, I'm not gonna. I figured if I typed it in and something really interesting popped up, I would share it, but nothing interesting really popped up, so forgot about it. Catmac says it's hard to live here off grid. Are you in the desert, Catmac? I don't remember where Catmac said she is. There's a corollary to tonight's subject that you had wanted to explore as well, eh? It was
Corollary?
Yeah. Sorry, I have never used that word in English. Did I mispronounce it?
I think he said colliery.
Yeah. Tell us about an instance where you were in the wilderness and you were experiencing nirvana. How does one what would we determine to be a nirvana instance? Are we going to go with like the straight up dictionary, like full body experience, or where you just, this is the moment?
Exactly. I misused the word there. Yep. Exactly how you put it. This is the moment.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
so right now.
Yeah, let's ask you guys in the chat, and like everyone's got a story like that, right? Everyone's got, or a few of them. Everyone's had that kind of moment where they've been sitting there and it's like, yeah, right now, this is the moment. So I want to hear about it. You guys in the side chat. I'm sure Hike with Mike's got a great story, and I kind of feel that mine is the story that I've told so many times about standing on that hillside and looking down and seeing all those ungulates in the valley below, and how I didn't realize it, but that was the moment where I started going real kind of into the philosophy I have about the outdoors today. I had another one once while hunting, and it was like -40, and I was cold and bored, and then I suddenly got really aware of the sound of, like, it was -40 and I could still hear birds, and I heard the crunch of the deer that I was hoping would come in front, and like it was just such an entire moment, And so, hold on, Nirvana. I'm just taking a look to see what, because I really want to see what people have to say about this. Well, they're talking about the icebergs now. That somebody asked about icebergs in Newfoundland. Thank you very much. Whoops.
That was. Wait, was that me? I was about to say that
Yeah.
was all you. I think it was me. Damn it.
No. Oh, all right. Hike with Mike is out. All right. Good night.
Good night, Mike. I gotta grab a brew.
You're grabbing another brew? Okay.
Brew.
So what do you guys have to say about that? About your Nirvana moment in the woods or in the natures? You've all got it. I know you do. Even if you have to sort of think about it. That was a disappointing beer. But I do have tea. Good old tea. Tea's a good drink.
Do you have a moment?
Do I have a moment?
Yeah.
No, not yet. Not yet.
No.
They're saying goodnight to Mike, and they're talking about the Great Lakes, ice caves, and stuff like that.
I'm not sure I've had any single one moment. I've had lots of moments because I live out here. Certainly, you touched on something earlier, which is if you see an animal out here in the wilderness, especially if it's just going around doing its own thing, I'm talking like a big animal. Like you see a deer come along, it's a wonderful moment. I don't talk about hunting either.
Yeah. Did I mention to you guys? This is a hunting story, but I'm not going to talk about the boomstick. Excuse me. I was getting out of this is years ago, and I was like, okay, I'm going back for lunch or whatever. I'm cold, and nothing's moving. So I get down out of my blind, and I heard something, and so I froze, and I looked out, and there were two females coming this way. And I guess, do they see by motion or something? I don't know, because I was just like, I did not move. I stood stone still, and one of them was just coming like directly towards me, and she passed like 4 feet from me, and I couldn't believe this was happening because I don't really understand deer. I don't know if what they're seeing is movement or if they really see me or not, or what. But it seemed like a fantasy moment because this damn thing just kept coming, browsing for stuff, and just walked right past me. And then, like, as soon as I moved, they did that. You know that stamp. You know that stamp. That's the next thing they do is they're gone.
They do a little plunge.
Yeah, you know. But like, I didn't want to move. I didn't want to scare this thing. You know, I was there to get meat. But, well, first of all, I didn't have a license for a female. But,
Yeah.
like, just seeing them walk around. Yeah, I didn't have a doe tag. But, like, just seeing them walk around like this, not through a scope or something, it's something else, you know? Yeah. I was aware that I was in her home, I guess.
I've had some neat experiences with deer here. I actually caught this one on video. There was a deer. I was standing on the deck, and I heard something across the pond, and I look up and I see this. I think it was a fawn. It wasn't very old. A doe fawn. What do they call them? Doe fawn. Anyway, it was coming along the side of the pond, and then suddenly it jumped into the pond, swam right towards the cabin, and then I think saw us, and then curved, and then went down this way. I had my video camera right there, so I filmed the whole thing. I was like, what a weird moment.
Yeah.
But it's wonderful to see them.
Was it young enough that it still had the spots on the back, or was it older than that?
Oh, I'd have to look at the video again. I don't remember it being too young, but I don't remember.
David says, my Nirvana is watching the sunset over our lake. Never get bored of it. Sunset over a lake.
David and Pam have a beautiful location.
Where are David and Pam? Like, not their address, but I know
They're
sort
about,
of.
they're close to me. They're about an hour away.
About an hour away from you. Yeah. Okay.
A little south and east of me.
Okay. Okay. Because I knew that they were sort of around you, but I didn't know they were that close. Like, you know, a lot of people say, "Yeah, I'm close to you," and what they mean is like within 3 hours. You know, so.
Yeah, well, in this day and age with the internet, it's like it's very true, right?
Yeah, very, very true.
But man, the funny thing is, we're probably only like 30 minutes away, except for the drive does this way and then this way, and it's like we're on a switchback the whole way.
Right. So you've seen their place?
Yeah, it was there. I think it was in one of my videos.
I haven't seen all of your videos yet. I still sort of I go through the back catalog every now and again, but there's still a lot for me to get through. But it's okay because I know you don't watch my stuff either.
Yeah, I was gonna say I wouldn't bother going through my old stuff.
Yeah, but the thing is, you live there, right? To you, it's like I'm living vicariously through guys like you and Joe Robinette and Sean James. Right? You know, like my nature viewing is my damn bird feeders. So, you know. All right. Robin says, good night. The dish is back in. Yeah, mine too, but I'll do that later. You know, like, so, like, I'm watching all these videos because of the scenery as much as the narratives. Putting a little hand cream on because I got some dry skin because the winter's coming on.
I do that too, yeah.
Charles W. says, my Nirvana moment was when I was living in Mississippi on a lake. I would get up and run and see the sunrise over the water. Always amazing. It's funny how sunrise and sunset has a real power over us, eh? Like,
yeah, it's
amazing how often like a sunrise or a sunset is what someone will go to in this kind of question. There's something with that light, about the change, about, you know, the darkening sky or the lightening sky that, like, I wonder what it is that makes so many people peg on that.
I wonder if it's an evolution thing.
Maybe.
Where, you know, darkness meant scary things happen and daylight meant the end of scary things. I don't know.
Yeah, and that's very possible because, I mean, if you go back far enough, yeah, the night was when scary things happened, when people would huddle together in caves for fear of a saber tooth or something taking a child off in the night.
You know, and back before there were clocks, you know, people, I'm sure, were very diurnal, right?
Mm-hmm.
When it gets dark, you go to bed. When it gets light, you get up.
I still feel that way, man. I hate being up before the sun. I hate it. I can't. Oh, yeah. Just drives me nuts. And I get up before the sun every morning these days. Absolutely kills me. David Evans, look at this comment. Look at that comment right there. I live vicariously through your squirrel's chest. I will beat those little bastards. I don't know how, but I will beat them.
I got something here that'll help.
I'm sure you do, but I can't touch it. I can't use it. I can't touch them with anything.
I didn't want to talk about knives tonight, but there's still this option.
Yeah, there is still, but I just I don't want to get in trouble with the law.
This one.
Yeah. I'll spank him with that one. Chris says, I am most drawn to the Lake Superior coast. I feel the most connected there. I kind of feel that Bill Mason was on Lake Superior a lot, wasn't he?
I wonder how much of that is nostalgia. Chris? Is that nostalgia? I tell you what, if I see if I see water through trees, like river, lake, pond, anything through trees, I get so nostalgic.
Yeah.
Something in my childhood.
Well, and I'm glad you brought up the word nostalgia because I was sort of angling towards that for in my next point is that I wonder how much of what we see as Nirvana. I think, in fact, I saw something that Cat Mac had said when I hiked above the tree line in Sun Valley,
Oh,
Idaho, and saw this.
don't. I booted her.
Oh, did you? Okay.
Yeah.
But like it's indicative of a couple of the comments that have popped up here tonight is that I think there is nostalgia involved in a lot of what attracts us to certain things. You know, like way back at the beginning of tonight's live stream, I had mentioned that because someone had mentioned camping with their parents. I don't remember who it was, and I sort of said that it's amazing how I get positive feelings from the smell of a Coleman stove being lit because of when I was camping in the 70s with my family, Lake Winnipeg campsite. Everyone had the same Coleman stove. In fact, I have one again now, a little 2-burner, and those lamps that you had to pump. This, you remember you had to pump your stove, you had to pump your lamp.
Oh, yeah.
Those Coleman lanterns, those mosquito twirly, whatever, spirals, all that stuff. That
Mosquito coils.
Yeah, it's musk oil. Like
Yep.
these are all toxic smells, but I have good feelings about them because of the reminiscence.
That's the classic. I love the smell of napalm in the morning.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm the same way. I remember my stepfather pumping up the lantern or the
Yeah.
Coleman stove. Boom, boom, boom,
Absolutely.
boom, boom.
Yep.
And then you hear the sound of it turning on.
Absolutely. That's the sound of my childhood right there.
And the funny thing is, like, some of the things that make me nostalgic aren't necessarily like great times or good things were happening. There's a weird thing about nostalgia. Why do we love it so much?
I think it sort of goes back to what I was saying about stress earlier. Like maybe we're nostalgic for those times because like the biggest thing that you had to worry about was whether or not you were getting an allowance that week.
I never got an allowance.
It's it's an example taken. It's an illustrative example rather than a concrete one. By the way, like half a dozen people have mentioned that yes, you did go and see his David's place in a video, and that it was a great video. So, or that David has a beautiful home. So I'm going to go and look for it.
We'll have to. I don't remember which one that was. We were fishing sometime in September.
Charles ties you and me together in one comment. I'm sorry to tell you, the squirrels will win, just like the beavers will win at Russell's.
Is that like the beavers are sitting there going, "Hey, so you got Jess all messed up now? Yeah. Okay, here's what we're gonna do next week.
Yeah, we're gonna take Russell down, and you're gonna take Jesse down. All right.
Yeah.
High five.
Good plan.
Yeah.
And
And
what am I
David
doing?
says
They're probably on their computers.
they're not phoning each other. Phone with a little curly wire attached to it. David had the same Coleman stove, lantern, and heater. We never had the heater. We should have had the heater, but we didn't have the heater.
So David says the pipe I was using is working well. It does when there's no mud in the end, and mud keeps getting in the end.
That's for the beavers, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I gotta build a cage around the end of the pipe, like a square cage of duck,
Duct tape.
chicken wire,
Chicken wire. Yeah, not duct tape.
not duck wire, chicken wire.
Yeah. I mean, you see, what you need is a pipe bomb. Just saying.
Little Left 4 Dead creeping into our conversation.
Little video game commentary. But yeah, so that's what I think that the nostalgia thing comes from. Just to bounce back to what I was saying is that maybe what we're associating things with a happier, not a happier moment necessarily, but a happier time in our lives before we had to worry about bills and stuff.
Maybe.
Maybe.
I don't know.
I just don't know.
I just don't know.
I just don't know. Well, my disappointing beer is finished. My tea is half finished. But I still have a dram of rye for later. So
That disappointing beer. What kind was it? I missed it.
it was it's not usually disappointing. It's a honey brown Nectarius.
Oh.
But it sat in my fridge a little too long.
Oh.
Like I think I was past the best before date, but I don't see where that is.
I can't ever remember that being a problem for me. Having to look at best before dates.
Yeah, at one point it wasn't for me either, but you know.
Wow, this beer has sat around for all of 2 days. Better check the best before date. Like I'm having a salted caramel again. They're hard to find,
oh yeah,
man. Jeez. Oh hey, I wanted to show you this. I was in a liquor store today looking at beer and looking for salted caramel and not finding it. But then I found this from the same brewery, Waterloo.
I've had their stout or porter or whatever it is. What's their dark called?
Vanilla bourbon stout, chocolate hazelnut porter, spiced rum imperial stout.
That sounds like a box of beer I need. Was that a 12?
I didn't know any of these existed. No, it's just a 6.
Huh.
I think.
Yeah.
It's just a 6, yeah.
So when I say that I've had their stout, obviously I don't know what I'm talking about because the stout I had from them was none of those. Interesting.
Me too, right? Like, as I said, I didn't know any of them existed, and here I find it in like a premium winter collection.
Well, that sounds cool.
I see 3 new beer reviews coming up in my videos.
I'm sure you. Yeah. Chris Garland is referring back to what he said, that it was a unique experience, and I can't equate it to nostalgia that I'm aware of. It had a feeling of a natural personality or a sort of moodiness about the place. Some places are just evocative, dude. You know, and because I'm drawing a line between what he said and what you were saying, Russell, about there's something about seeing water through trees. That there's something happening there. And like what I'm saying about what I think it is, we're just pining for a simpler time. I don't know if that's true or anything. It's just I spend so much time thinking about this kind of stuff, trying to understand the things that make us tick in relation to our personal connection with the natural world. I think, and I wonder if I spend all this time thinking about it because I don't really get to the natural world that often. Like maybe I'm trying to grasp at it in any way I can, but I would love to understand this stuff. But at the same time, I feel that if I suddenly understood all this stuff, maybe some of the magic would be gone, right? Like I have a real appreciation for the mystery aspect of things.
Oh. Here, take a look at this.
What is it? Hold on.
Take a guess.
Is that like a 50 cal? Is that a pen?
Close. It's a lighter.
Wow. That is the...
Yeah.
Where'd you get that?
That's funny that it still works. I didn't think it still worked. Oh, I bought a bunch of novelty lighters a long time ago. Anyway. Can't believe that still works.
How long ago did you get that?
20 years ago? I don't know. Something like that. Or,
So it works
15
20
years
years
ago.
Hey, David's asking if any of us did the station wagon trips where they dump you in the back and just drive and drive and drive.
Yes.
I think everyone's done that at least once.
Yes. Every summer for many summers.
Yeah, well, that's how my dad and sister and I got to camping. But it was, drove and drove and drove. We were only talking like a few hours, not like a week. It was how some people drive from, Toronto to Cape Breton or something like that. Well, even that's not a week, but you know what I'm saying.
We used to go, like, one summer we went to Calgary, the next summer we went to BC. You know,
Yeah.
drove and hit campgrounds along the way.
Angie hates beer, but your little collection there sounds good.
Ah.
Oh, hi, Angie.
Oh, hi, Angie.
My mom was drugged all over the United States in a van by her parents, is how she puts it. I can hear an accent to that. I was drugged all over the United States in a van. Something about I was drugged. But yeah, we never really drove the 10-day adventure kind of thing the way some people did. But there was definitely a lot of station wagon action in my childhood. I remember my dad's station wagons, like, from back in the day when the front seats of those things were like couches rather than the little bucket seats or whatever they are now.
Bench seating, I guess.
Yeah, bench seating.
Yep.
Stick shift.
Huh.
They don't do them like that anymore. That's for sure.
We went out one winter in my mom's Ford Fiesta. That was crazy. We stopped. We didn't camp, of course, but we stopped at motels and stopped at restaurants, and it was so cold when we stopped at a restaurant. We didn't shut the car off. Left it running in the parking lot. Everybody did. It was crazy.
Yeah, gas was cheap, and the world was even cheaper. Yeah, Angie understands going camping with her cousins in the back of the station wagons, short trips and long. Yeah, a lot of people. Charles too. My parents would never stop. Oh yeah, that's the trip. Okay, we got 8 hours to be at Thunder Bay. We ain't stopping. You gotta pee? Just hang it out the back window. See a man about a hearse? Drive by.
That's pretty much what we were like. The first day we wouldn't even get out of Ontario. We're stopping near Dryden.
Yeah. Canadian says the days where you peed in a Coke bottle because we ain't stopping. Yeah.
We never did that.
Yeah. Panel wagons, right? If you go back far enough, the wagons with the faux wood paneling. Different world.
Like in Vacation, the movie.
Oh, my land.
Which is a great movie.
I haven't seen that in years and years. I only saw it once, actually. I know people who've seen it like a billion times.
It's a classic movie. Remember when the aunt died and they strapped her to the roof and they're driving down the road?
Yeah.
And they leave it in the guy's backyard. The body.
Yeah, I know people who've seen that movie the way I've seen Spinal Tap, like a million times.
Hey, we've probably talked about this before, but have you watched that with the commentary? The three actors and
Not
the
yet.
Director.
I'm going to, though.
Have we talked about this?
Yes.
Okay.
Not on a live stream, but we've talked about it in the green room. Yeah, I'm gonna watch that with because I think I might have it on Blu-ray somewhere. Somewhere we have a crate, or not a crate, a big box that has all of our discs in it. All the non-child friendly discs, like all the ones that aren't Disney or something. I think I might, or I was going to buy it and I didn't. There's a lot of things that I was going to buy and didn't, and like years later I'll be, yeah, didn't I get that? No, I didn't. All right, I'm not doing that tonight. David agrees with you. Summer Vacation is a classic. David Evans also says, so Christmas Vacation, my favorite Chevy Chase movie. I recently heard that Chevy Chase spread agony at every film set or show that he's ever worked on. That apparently he's an epic, legendary level asshole, which I had never really heard before. And it's funny because his characters are kind of lovable. Like his on-screen persona is kind of like the lovable idiot,
Yeah.
But that apparently he's legendarily crappy to work with.
Hmm.
Funny.
That's disappointing.
Yeah. I mean, not that I want to derail the conversation into that or anything, but
We're way off topic.
yeah. Yeah, we're sort of we're drifting. We're adrift. I'm having more tea.
Ew.
Yeah, the reason I thought that the question would be good for this crew is because it's like I said earlier on, maybe before you joined us, that many of the people in the side chat are in some ways similar to us in that they're either homesteaders or off-gridders or bushcrafters or avid campers or paddlers or there's the thread of having an affinity for the outdoors natural world runs all the way down that side chat, right? Almost all these people share this with us in some way or another. And so I thought it would be very interesting to, hey, Steve Mito is here. How's it going?
It's method.
Method? Is it really
Like
method, or are
method.
you just being a great big jerk?
No, it's like method, except with a T. No, he
I
told me
thought
that
it.
one night.
Oh, I thought it was a Quebecer. In which case, that would definitely have been Mito. All right, Steve Method.
Oh, well, I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure he told me that one night.
You can't be
Steve
doing
was.
this to me, man, Russell.
Well, Steve's
I'm
gonna
just like straight up
tell us in a
believing
sec.
you.
I know. I'm pretty sure.
I think I'm just gonna call him Steve M. Okay.
I could be wrong, but
Hi, Steve. We're doing great.
Steve, buddy,
Steve-O. Hey.
pea soup.
Oh, Liz or farmers, yeah. I for long periods of time I was like I would love to have been a farmer. But it's because what I think of when I think of farming is the looking out over your fields of wheat or like maybe doing, work in the fields, whatever. But I'm not thinking about getting up at 4 a.m. in a blizzard, because it doesn't matter if you want to stay in bed, you run a farm, you know? Like I have this romantic view of farming, I think.
I worked on a farm for 2 summers. They had pigs and they had cows, and it was during the summertime, so it was like straw season, and then it was hay season, and it was very much every morning 5:30. You don't have a choice. You got to get up and feed the pigs and milk the cows.
Yeah.
And if it's not you, then it's somebody.
Yeah. And I
And
think,
it's You know, I was gonna
well,
say, and it's like if you see rain in the forecast coming up in the next couple of days, you're out there right now busting your butt, no matter
yeah,
what
you're
day it
hauling.
is.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah, absolutely. And like I don't like to get up at 10, right? I don't want to make it sound like I'm a late riser. But I don't like being up before the sun, as I've said. Uh, um to me, like 6:30 is a good time to get up when it's not still dark out. 5:30 is hard work for me. And that's partly because I go to bed pretty late, I feel. So
Yep.
there's a connection there.
Yeah, you should probably go to bed earlier.
Yeah, I definitely should.
You wouldn't want to hear what my schedule is.
But you go to bed every night at 9, wake up every morning at 5.
I yes.
Um, Liz is asking Steve to tell us how to pronounce his name. We've created a monster.
Why isn't he Steve? Why aren't you telling us how to pronounce your last name? He must have walked away from the computer for a bit.
Yeah. Liz says we get up at 5:45 and the views are stellar, but yeah, the work is brutal at times.
Brutal. Right.
Yeah.
We get up at 5:30. Often not go to bed until 11 p.m. They were a religious family, and they didn't like to work on Sundays unless they really had to.
Right.
And then Sundays, like everybody would sleep all day trying to
Right.
catch up.
Trying to catch up, saving it up for the. David says maybe stop playing L4D2 with Russell. Come on, David. You know
I was thinking of
not
playing
the
when
same
we're
thing.
done here, actually. Well, and here's David wants to join us.
Yeah. David, you're never going to sleep again if you get that computer.
Oh, he's not. He's just buying the hard drive.
Oh, is he? I don't know if that's going to be a good solution, though.
I don't
maybe it
either. He put his video card in Discord. I meant to look it up. Jess is right? Oh, I could have sworn.
You know, because Steve and I, we live in the same province, man. I get how the last names work here. You know.
I could have sworn. I think Steve must have lied to me those many months ago.
Steve lying to Russell. I have a huge history of living in Manitoba and having my last name completely destroyed by English speakers. So I sort of tend to err on the, because somewhere in the world there's a Steve Mito who lives outside Quebec who is definitely method, you know. But I always err towards the French pronunciation, sometimes embarrassingly. Because I had so many years of being called Corbeil or Corbel.
I have a French last name. I've just learned to give people the English pronunciation of it.
Yeah. It never even occurred to me that there would be an English pronunciation for that name.
Well, I mean, it's what I say it is, right?
Yeah.
People around here have a hard time saying Lausanne.
Yeah, but why? So what would that be in English then? Lausanne?
Yeah, I just say Lausanne.
Lausanne? Oh, David says the hard drive is only temporary until he gets home. Okay. But man, you will spend way less money on your computer down there than you will here.
I was thinking that too. You should compare prices, David.
Yeah. David says that Corbet is a hard name to pronounce in French.
Corbet?
That doesn't. Oh, Simon shows up with imagine how many people butchered my last name. Absolutely. That in English? Oh, forget about it. I see what I did there. That's a
Simon Forget.
Yeah.
That's pretty much it. Simon Forget.
Yeah. Simon says, forget my last name. I'm just getting stupid now.
We're so far off topic, but this is pretty much how it goes, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, you know, after 10 p.m., if we go off topic, it's a little less serious than if we go off topic before 10.
How many people like trying to listen to this as a podcast?
Like, that would be nightmarish. But I used to have a podcast. I think I told you guys that I used to have a science podcast with a partner who is an actual scientist. And those we kept really strict. Like we stayed right on the subject matter. Like if I was to restructure these live streams as a podcast, this is coming from someone who would really love to have a podcast again. There would be no deviation. You know, like I would have everything planned out. But you know, these live streams are supposed to be kind of chit chat. You know,
that's just the thing. You'd have to plan it out. There's no way you could do just ramble for 2 hours on a topic like that.
Yeah. Yeah, like if they were to be more structured as a podcast, I think it would be an hour. I really sort of stumbled over that. Let me start that again. And take two.
I get it.
I think if they were going to be structured like a podcast, the episodes would be an hour long. You know, 2 hours. The only podcast that really hits way above an hour that I can really handle are like Hardcore History, and he will stretch it. He will go to like 5 hours. This is why his podcasts only come out like 3 times a year, because it takes him forever to get them done. They're long as hell. But like I am just wrapped from stem to stern every episode. But I mean, there are many different kinds of people making podcasts. Some of them are journalists, some of them are writers, and some of them are just guys who are into certain things. Writers and journalists come to podcasts the way they come to writing and journalism, right? Very structured. They don't lose the narrative anywhere, right? They get you through. There's people who just sort of come at this with an interest. Very often them and their partners will sort of wander into just conversations and stuff. There's all kinds of podcasts I have stopped listening to because they've been like joking with each other and stuff. And it's like, I just want to hear what you're talking about. Whereas with the live stream, I have so much more patience for people just talking. And I don't know why that is. But like I'll watch a live stream that's just chatting. I watch all kinds of live streams where it's nothing but people just reacting to people's side chat.
Like me.
Yeah, like Books Fest, right? You're literally having a conversation with the people in the side chat, and it's still, in my opinion, interesting stuff. Whereas if it was a podcast, right? If it was on while I was driving somewhere, I don't think like for a podcast I need it to be more structured. I wonder why that is. Okay, so David has compared prices. Better deals in Canada plus limited. Oh, limited to $800 duty free. Yeah, because the computer he showed us was $899 in Canada. Ian the Weblord says Lalonde is a bugger in English. People will repeat it right back wrong. How would you say Lalonde wrong?
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing. Lalonde. Is that wrong?
Oh, maybe Lalonde, but that doesn't sound wrong to me.
Well, how did you say it?
Lalonde.
Lalonde. It's pretty close.
Yeah, but like, I'd say in English you would probably say Lalonde, right? Londe rhymes with blonde. Huh. Okay. Fox, it says. Sorry. I know you don't want me to call you that. It says, can't do podcasts. Not enough interaction. Yeah, I guess I'm good with podcasts having no interaction because I'm listening to them like I listen to a radio show. Dude, I listen to a lot of talk radio, right? I listen to the CBC, or if I'm feeling all like hoity-toity, I'll listen to NPR. So I'm okay with people talking at me rather than just stupid enforced jollity on morning radio and then the same pop song 14 times a day. But I do like seeing the interaction on live streams. So I understand you, Cliff. I get where you're going from. Yeah, Carol and because I want to call her Carol because that to me that spelling is Carol, whereas to me in English Carol has no e at the end, so I keep completely butchering her name. Sorry, Carol. David says, "Where is Sam Jackson tonight?" David, you should get that put on a TV on a T-shirt. I feel that David asks that like all the time.
I haven't seen Sam around in ages. Like the guy just disappears, and then where does he go? I don't know.
Yeah, he disappears into the ether and then pops back after a while. Angie says, I'm definitely happiest when I'm outdoors, preferably in the woods on or near water. I think I get a natural high. I grew up camping every weekend with my family. Thank you for bringing us back to the
yeah, thank you, thank you,
the
Angie.
object of tonight's. Yeah, and I agree with you. I love being out there in the woods, and especially if there's water especially if there's water nearby. Absolutely. Yeah. The smells, the sights, the sounds. And I find like it's never really silent out there. It's just that the noises at night are different. But in the winter, it gets really, really quiet. It never gets quiet in the city.
Yeah, if I stepped outside right now, it'd be dead quiet. There's no wind even.
I find it doesn't get as quiet in the summer as it does in the colder half of the year.
Well, around here, there's all kinds of frogs. They make noise all night long. And then the whippoorwills will start up like 2 a.m.
What
right
is a
outside the
whippoorwill?
window. It's a bird.
Is that a kind of? It's a bird.
Yeah, it's a bird.
Are they big?
I don't know.
This sounds like a small bird.
I'm not sure. I don't usually see them because they seem to come out at night.
Okay. Well, I'll look them up because I've never seen. Well, I don't think I've ever even. I don't know what they sound like, so I'm like, I've never heard one of those, but I don't know if I've heard one of those or not.
Yeah, I'd make the sound. It sounds kind of like whippoorwill. That's where they get their name from.
Like chickadee got its name.
Exactly.
Yeah. Liz listens to her podcast kind of the same as when I do, except when I'm preparing meals, I that's when I do my YouTubing. Oh, Chris says I remember Patrick Roy from the Montreal Canadiens having his name mispronounced around this part of Ontario all the time. I could see that happening a lot. They probably called him Roy.
Oh, of course.
Andrew says, I have a good podcast voice. Hi there, friendlies. How's it going? Welcome to the podcast. Tonight, the subject of conversation is, where do you find your nirvana when you're out in the woods? Is it...
Sorry, I was going to say, I have a good podcast face. But continue.
I was just being a brat. I was about to follow that up with a trial version. David likes interacting on the side chat. Yeah, there's, the cool thing about live streams is that there are two shows going on. There's this thing with Russell and me, and I guess if anyone else wants to come on, we're a quarter of an hour until the end. But if anyone else wants to come on, let me know and I'll let you on for a little bit. But like, there's this, and then there's the side chat, which is a parallel. It's a whole different show happening. There's a lot of people talking. We've got a good crew. Every week we've got a great crew, and the conversations are interesting. They're talking to us, they're talking to us who are on screen, but they're also talking to each other. Like, this is a fundamentally 21st century medium that we're partaking of.
Yeah.
One of those two things is the proper grammar. And there's a real power to live streaming in this way that I find compelling. Now, if says I can't stand talk radio, it's like listening to a movie with nothing on screen. Well, I mean, I guess that's a guy who's never listened to Ideas on the CBC. Ah, cool. Angie says my first live stream ever was Books Fest. Ah, isn't that cool? Russell.
Hi, Angie.
David likes chatting on Discord with like-minded people. Well, I only really discovered Discord through Russell and through his Discord.
We've had some interesting nights. Yep.
Steve is asking, hey guys, what's the difference between a soldier and a woman? Do I want to touch this with my 10-foot pole? Oh, no. A soldier stands up to get knocked down. A woman lays down to get knocked up. Is that even a dad joke? No. Ian says, my dad was a scout leader for 25 years. I spent lots of time camping or getting burrs pulled out of my hair before I knew better. As a kid, I had a lot of run-ins with burrs as well. I did not enjoy the feeling. Oh, Charles says, I can't wait to close on our property at the beach. Sunrise over the water. That's true. I'd forgotten that you were in the purchasing process.
I'll be back.
Sure. Oh, David says he heard from Sam this past weekend. He said all was good. Russell, I hope you heard what I just said. Cliff says, don't have cable anymore. Got rid of it about 10 years ago. We got rid of our cable about the same time ago, which is funny because we got rid of it because we were tired of paying for packages so that we could get one channel and one channel and one channel. But I feel that we traded that in for paying for entire streaming services so that we could get one show and one show and one show. So it was great at first, but I kind of feel that it's not really that different, but it might be a little more expensive. Whoo! This is the Alberta Premium Cask Strength, batch 3, which is the batch that they put out this year. This is only 63.5% alcohol by volume. It'll make you sit up and take notice, that's for sure. Batch 2 from last year was 66%, and batch 1 from the year before was, I believe, 65.1%. It's a very good rye, but you're not going to take too big a sip at a time. And when you're nosing it, when you're at that kind of ABV, like, don't dive in right away. Sort of sniff a little bit first, get a sense, and then slowly sort of go back in. With whiskey, half the joy happens on the nose before you even let it touch your tongue. Yeah, it really bites. It's like, David got rid of their cable in 2011. It looks like a bunch of people did, and I'm unsurprised by that. I think if the cable companies would, here's the thing, if I was allowed to just charge me $5 per channel, like whatever, you charge me for the base system, fine, whatevs. But then after that, let me choose like a la carte. I want this station plus that station plus that station. Even if you're charging me $5 a station, but I'm only taking 3, to me that's better than having to get entire packages. Say I cared about hockey, which I don't, but if I cared about hockey and I wanted TSN, don't make me take the entire TSN package with TSN and RDS and blah and blah and blah. Let me have one channel, and then we wouldn't have necessarily cut the cable.
And charge you $30 for it.
Yeah, absolutely.
My big problem was, I might like this show from this channel, or maybe a couple of shows from that channel, but then that's it. I don't know.
Absolutely.
I like the internet. like streaming services like Netflix to me are the way to go. Like, I'll watch it when I want, where I want. If I find a great show, like, gosh, I'm binge watching Breaking Bad right now.
Are you?
Which is a great show. I never watched it when I had the chance, but.
Well, and there's the thing. It's funny that you bring that up because Breaking Bad is one of those shows that I'm not going to start because it's too daunting to look at the body that I have to get through. It's the same as, like, I'm not going to start watching Game of Thrones because there's so much to chew through. Because
Game of Thrones?
No, well, we didn't get the channel at first, right? In fact, I still don't know what I would watch it on. But I spend a lot of time really trying to keep up on the YouTube channels of people who are sub to me and people who are friends with me. So if I'm trying to get through hundreds of hours of Game of Thrones, I'm not gonna have the time for the YouTubing, right? Because I'll have the Game of Thrones on while I'm doing the dishes, rather than Raspberry Rock or My Self Reliance or Joe Robinette or Mallory.
It's
You know,
I know what you're saying. I feel the same way, and I think, oh God, one day I'm gonna get to The Sopranos and watch all that one day. There's so many great shows that have gone by, and I just missed it. But you know,
The Sopranos is a seminal show, right? Because that sort of opened the doors for a lot of the shows like Breaking Bad and stuff, right? Where big anti-hero, um, swearing freely. I don't know if there was a lot of swearing in Breaking Bad, but Sopranos, woo.
no,
Um,
sure.
in
The Ozarks is another one.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Hey, SV Raven is here. How's it going? Middle of the mitten. Yeah, I didn't watch Sons of Anarchy either. Didn't see that show at all.
Yeah.
And there's the thing, like it's daunting to start any of these at this point, since I haven't seen any of them at all. Like I would I watched Dead Like Me because it was only a few seasons. I watched Carnival because I think that was a season or two. Great TV, like HBO level stuff. It might have actually been an HBO show. Deadwood, terrific show, absolutely fantastic. But these are shows that sort of got cut after 2 seasons. Whereas something that lasted 8 years, it's like, oh, so much to get through. I didn't even watch all of Star Trek: The Next Generation, so I'm gonna binge all of Game of Thrones. No.
Just one day you will live like me in a cabin in the woods, and you won't have the kids will be off on their own and stuff, and you'll. I don't want to finish that sentence.
I know I'll be so bored with myself that all I'll do is watch TV.
What I guess what I'm saying is you'll have more time one day.
Yeah. Better Call Saul. I didn't see that either. I've been told that Steve Mitto is asking how much is it? Oh, the Alberta Premium. It's about $70. It's about $70. It's very affordable comparatively for a whiskey.
Sorry, Saul was great on Breaking Bad. I love his character.
Is it the same? Oops.
It must be because his thing on Breaking Bad was Better Call Saul.
Okay.
So I assume it was the same.
All right. Ian said it was way back because I think he binged. I think it was Breaking Bad. He binged on a weekend. No.
It's hard to do.
No, I think I've got two comments mixed up here, but I cannot find Ian's original comment, so I'm not going to.
It's hard to do. There's I don't know how many episodes, and each one is almost an hour long.
Yeah, I'm wrong. It was Yellowstone. David says I binged Yellowstone, and I'm now caught up, and I think I'm putting two and two together and getting 4 rather than 3. David Evans, my wife hated it, so I binged. So it was binged while she was in the hospital one weekend. All good with her, but give me the freedom to watch what I wanted. Okay.
I totally envisioned David like, oh, what? My wife's in the hospital? Okay, sure. Let's turn on the TV.
Click. Yeah. Yeah.
I'll call her later.
The Jesse version. What? My wife's in the hospital? Okay, so that means I can get through all of The Mandalorian this weekend. Tell her I'll pick her up on Monday.
You're texting her, I love you.
How you doing, honey?
Stay healthy.
All my hopes and dreams.
And she calls you, and you're like, what? What? You're watching TV. What?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm paying attention.
Yeah. Uh-huh. Yeah. 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 Yes. Uh-huh. That's mean. But funny.
Yep. There's a okay. I just watched a sequence in Breaking Bad where the guy's brother-in-law gets shot. So they're in the family's in the hospital, just waiting for news on the guy, and
Hmm.
like, you gotta get out of there, man. You gotta get cooking meth. You gotta be cooking meth right now. You gotta get out of there.
Right.
Oh, hello.
Oh, what a cutie.
Oh, slobber came out.
Yeah.
God, it's on my. Oh,
Tim says, I like watching the YouTube channels the best because it's informative and fun to watch. I think YouTube channels kick TV shows ass personally. I did a whole episode um, on my, excuse me. I did a whole episode
oh.
on my blog when I was still vlogging on my dormant vlog channel about what I liked better about YouTube than TV or film. And I've said this before, so I don't want to really beat the horse back to life or anything, but I like the immediacy of YouTube and the lack of middlemen. Um, but that also means that I've stopped liking certain channels that I feel have switched over into TV 2.0. Like I used to watch guys like Matty Hapoya religiously, or Peter McKinnon, but I find that they've sort of switched over to TV 2.0, so I'm a little less involved in them now. Like when your YouTubers have teams around them,
Hmm.
you know. Uh, though I would love to have someone do my editing for me. I have so many things that I just don't have time
Oh
to
yeah.
edit right now. I would love to just sort of pass that off to someone and say, "Here's my concept.
I
Go."
I will totally try that one day, but I need faster internet because I can't transfer the raw files fast enough. I could end up like with 20 or 30 gigs of raw video file. I just
I don't know if I could afford to even try it. I don't know what it costs.
you get somebody from the Philippines, it's dirt cheap.
Yeah. Ian says, I love to watch anything creepy or weird when the wife is out of the house or is sleeping. Cuts down on what I can watch. Uh, I wish that Netflix had a lot of like Ray Mears or stuff like that.
That would be cool.
Yeah.
I don't know why they haven't approached YouTubers. Say, hey, let me put all your videos on Netflix.
Yeah. I think that if they do, they're going to approach someone like um, uh, someone like I have blanked on all the names I was about to pull out. Every single one of them.
Genre?
Like one of the really big guys.
Genre?
Um,
In what genre are you talking?
the silliness. The guys. One of them is boxing, famous boxers now, or
Oh, one of the Logan brothers.
yeah, Logan Paul, or the other one, Jake, or
Or
like they're gonna approach
sorry,
guys like
one of the Paul
that,
brothers.
or the crap that makes a lot of money. They're gonna approach that kind of stupidity before they approach anyone really interesting, because the thing about YouTube is that it's all little niche markets, except for the guys at the pinnacle. And I don't watch anyone who's at the pinnacle because I find that 90% of what they're doing is stupidities. I don't have time to waste with stupidities.
There's some big YouTubers that aren't like that though. They actually do really good videos. They're really interesting. They're just
Yeah.
really fun to watch. I don't watch them,
Uh,
of course, because I don't watch any.
there are a couple of big ones who I love to watch. What's it called? Is it Answers with Joe? Is that Um, I don't know if I got the name right because I'm tired, but very interesting guy. There's His last name is Scott. He does like these short little videos, very informative, and it's always about interesting little things like this bridge is on the border between 3 different countries. So if you're in the middle of the bridge, you're in 3 countries at once, kind of thing. Like always, really interesting stuff. Is his name Paul Scott? No, hold on. I feel that unless I actually lay at least one YouTuber's name down here, everything I'm saying is crap.
How about like Vsauce?
Joe Scott.
Visa.
Vsauce, yeah, actually, I don't watch a lot of Vsauce, but everything I've seen has been like that's high quality work.
Yeah, and it's really interesting stuff.
Yeah,
I don't watch it either.
But you don't watch anything. Yeah, I like Joe Scott. Right, he's like all answers with Joe, interesting stuff. And Tom Scott, it's weird. 2 Scotts. Tom Scott is the British one, who's sort of along the same lines. Like, here's an interesting little thing that I'm going to talk to you about, but his videos are all really small. Yeah, I'm not going to spend all the rest of the time looking. Oh, we're actually done. It's after 11. We're at 11:01. So even though there are still 22 people watching, I am way too tired to keep this going for another half hour. So we're going to shut her down for now for this week. Between this week and next week, you know what I'm going to say, but I'm going to say it anyway. Thank you for hanging out with Russell and me between now and next week. Please stay sane, stay safe, stay healthy, and be kind to one another.
Peace.